How's it going?
Can you hear me, my friend?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Nice. Yeah, me too.
Cool.
How are you, my friend?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. A long time no seeing you.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
It's been
Yeah.
like 3 years, I guess.
Yeah, coming up here. Yeah, it's been it was like October 2019.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
Olympiano collab. I had my can right here.
Oh, nice.
And how you been doing, Ben?
I've been doing good. Yeah. Like just keeping moving forward.
No.
It's getting better all the time though, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some people here.
I see.
They are going to ask you a few things when
Okay.
we end the interview.
Yeah.
Are you ready to start, Ben?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. First of all, can you tell us a little about you?
Yeah, so Ben Love. I'm the brewmaster at Gigantic Brewing here in Portland, Oregon. We started Gigantic 10 years ago. We're coming up on our 10th anniversary here in May. And I've been brewing professionally since 2004. I was down at Pelican on the coast here in Oregon for 3 years, and then at Hopworks in Portland for 4 years before I started Gigantic.
Nice. And at what age did you realize you wanted to be a brewer?
It was really, I guess it would have been 2003. So I was 25 then. And and like I grew up in Portland basically, and in one of the suburbs here, and and I started drinking craft beer pretty young. We had Bridgeport and Lucky Lab, and of course Widmer and Portland Brewing here. So I grew up kind of drinking those beers, and I worked at the Horse Brass. Well, I worked next door at Belmont Station, but I drank at the Horse Brass, and which is a great beer bar here in Portland. And I really got exposed to more beer there when I was like 21, which is the drinking age here in Oregon. And so then I kind of had an opportunity. I moved out to Wisconsin for a year. When I got out there, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, kind of next in life or whatever. And I thought, I was like, man, brewery might be an interesting job. I like drinking beer in Wisconsin, and it all just kind of started from there. I liked the work, and yeah, it just all continued from there.
That's nice. At the same age as I started too.
What's that? You're the same age, yeah.
Yeah, 25. I have 25.
Yeah.
And of that craft beer, which beer do you discover was your favorite?
At that time?
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna have to I don't even know. It would have been like I could pick one, I could be like, oh, Bridgeport IPA. I suppose, I really don't remember what we drank. I feel like because we were at the Horse Brass, we drank a lot of Younger's Special Bitter,
yeah,
which is a beer that Rogue made for the Horse Brass for Don Younger, and specifically for Don's brother, who passed away young. And but I mean, that was basically IPA pale ale. So we drank a lot of those. And I know that when I came back from Wisconsin, that was one of the big things that attracted me to brewing at the Pelican, is that they had a really big hoppy. The Pelican IPA was pretty intense for its time. And so I remember coming back and specifically having that beer and being excited to get to make a beer like that.
That's nice. So you can tell that IPA is your favorite craft beer style?
Well, I'd say it was then. Now I pretty much drink Pilsners.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
totally, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely changed now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I still like IPAs, but probably 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be drinking a Pilsner.
How does the idea of Gigantic started?
Yeah, so Gigantic, I started the brewery with my partner, Van Havik. He brewed at Rock Bottom here in Portland for a long time. And, it was one of those, I brewed for other people for a while. I was interested in having my own brewery and started my own thing. And Ben and I got together over that, it was interesting actually. So like we were both on the board of the Oregon Brewers Guild. And so we got to know each other through that and just hanging out at beer festivals. And he like I said, he was working at Rock Bottom, and they had sold to this new investment ownership group. And those guys said they wouldn't change anything, and they didn't for a while. But of course, like all investment groups, they did finally. And so he gave an interview to a local beer blog talking about how it was bullshit, the changes that they made. And like so they fired him. Yeah. And at his going away party, at his like last day party, then we were hanging out, and I was like, you and I should get together and start our own brewery. And he was unemployed at the time, so he had a lot of time to work on our business plan, and we got together and did a lot of work to put it together, and we got it funded relatively quickly. I mean, both of us at that time, I'd been brewing for like 7 years, and he had been brewing for over 10. And so we were pretty well known within the beer community in Oregon. And so it wasn't, we were able to fund it pretty quickly. And I mean, from the time that we started working on it, it took us about a year to actually open the brewery. So from starting to work on the business plan to actually opening it and making beer.
That's nice. And where did you learn to brew?
So it's a combination of on-the-job training, and then also I went through the American Brewers Guild, which is a correspondence program out of Vermont. And so that was a 5-month program. Most of it, at that time, I don't know how they do it now. At that time, they would send you DVDs to watch the DVDs. I'm sure, yeah, right? Yeah, you're like, what the fuck's a DVD? I'm sure it's just all online now, right?
Yeah, we all know it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so anyway, I actually still have it. I got this like full binder of DVDs of like, I don't even know how many. There's probably like 40 different DVDs with all these lectures on it. So watch all the lectures, be a part of these online chats. Although at that time, like the online chats was just like typing, and it was like texting basically. And did that training, and then just working at different breweries. So working at Pelican and working at Hopworks and going from there. But it helped that the first brewery that I worked at Pelican, Darren was a great educator and great trainer. And so to start at that brewery and have somebody who's a great brewer and is good at communicating that was really important and formative to me becoming a really good brewer.
Yeah, and I think you learn with all the experience that you have in other experiences and other years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would say like before that, like the work ethic that I already had was important, coming into that.
Yeah. And you think it was difficult to start
brewing?
Start brewing and with Gigantic.
Yeah, I mean, to start Gigantic, it was a lot of work. It was definitely a lot of work. In a lot of ways, it was kind of an extension of what I had already done, because when I left Pelican and started working at Hopworks, I started working there when they were still under construction. So I actually did some of the construction and then opened the brewery. And when we opened it, it was just me doing everything. And pretty quickly, within a couple months, we hired a second person, and then the brewery grew really fast. And so we went from brewing, from zero to we're like 8,000 barrels, which is probably, that's like, I don't know, 10 or 11,000 hectoliters when I left. And went, from a staff of just me to, I think we had 8 people working in the brewery at that time. And so doing that at Gigantic, in a lot of ways, it was the same experience as I had opening up Hopworks and getting that all going. So so it wasn't, yeah, I don't want to just be like, oh, it was no big deal. You know, it was a lot of work, but it was something that I'd already kind of done. So I wasn't too fearful of it. And I'd already had the experience of opening up a brewery and getting it going and building everything. So it was just exciting that this time it was my own.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's interesting because some people at the moment of beginning a new project, I think they get conflicted about the difficulties that they will have or they are having.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I mean, whenever I have any new task, anything that I haven't done before, that it scares me, you know, that I get, my stress level gets really high. And the reality is that what I remind myself now is that I've always been able to, you know, pick apart the tasks that I need to do and get them done and eventually get it done. And if there's something that I don't know, then I ask people that I think will know how to do it or for advice. And I've always been able to get through and get those things done. So I think you're right. I mean, it seems it's very intense, but but yeah, if you've done it before, you can do it again. You just need to put your list together and figure it out and start checking things off, right?
Yeah, and you can solve the problem that can present.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'd be able to solve them. And if you have people around you, that's another thing too, is like if you have a lot of friends, coworkers, other people in the industry that you can talk to that have had experiences, you know, that's one of the nice things about this industry is that you always have people are willing to share, right? It's not like other industries where people aren't willing to give you advice and to tell you what they do. You know, it's very open. And so I know, like when we were starting Gigantic, then I went to a couple of the breweries that I really liked and talked to the owners of those breweries. And I was just like, hey, I'm looking to start my own thing. Like, what would you recommend? What advice can you give me? And you know, it goes a long ways to making things easier, to just ask for help, you know?
Yeah. And that people can and want to help you. Because sometimes people just say, no, he's going to be my
competitor.
Yeah.
Totally, right? Yeah. And that doesn't happen in this industry too much. I don't know how it is, if it's the same way in Mexico City or not, or like a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit,
all right, fair enough.
Yeah, but as they are
such a big place though.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that. It's kind of a big city. It's kind of a lot of people down there.
Yeah. And we are recently the 1% of the beer industry.
Yeah.
Because the other industries like Modelo, Corona, they are still dominating the market.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, but we are.
So that's the thing.
We are getting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's David and Goliath, you know, and so that's the thing. It makes sense for all of you guys to get together and work together.
Yeah,
that's what we did here.
Yes, we should do this. And you already told us that Pilsner is your favorite beer right now.
It is, yeah.
What do you think, or which do you think is your favorite Mexican beer or other countries' beer?
I was gonna say Mexican beer. The Mexican beer. I don't want to say this because you guys are gonna judge me. You know, it's probably Negro Modelo is the one that I have most often, but it's also like what I have access to.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, we don't have, as far as I know, we don't have like very much Mexican craft beer up here. But like that's one that is always a go-to. Actually, I'll be totally honest with you. Like what I've drank most of during the pandemic, especially, is mezcal.
Nice.
Like, yeah. It's going through a bottle of it, like especially early on, like a bottle it, you know, once a week. But yeah,
that's cool
because it's so good. But like, yeah, I mean, outside of that, I don't know, you know, yeah. Mezcal.
And from other countries, which is your favorite beer?
Um, it's funny because like I know a long time ago, early on, I would pretty quickly say like Cantillon was one of my favorite beers, and it still is one of my favorite beers. And just love everything about the way that it's made, the flavors that you get out of it, the fruits that they use, especially, and like the intense fruit flavors that they have in their beers, because they're like going out there and picking fruit at the peak of ripeness. But like, but we had the opportunity to go to Prague last fall, and we were just drinking Pilsner Cal, and shit, I can't remember the name of the other one. Totally just blanking on it. But like, we're just drinking endless seconds. Like Pilsner, I don't know. Pilsner is fantastic for me right now. That's definitely like my go-to when it comes to beer.
Yeah. Pilsner for me, I think stout.
Stout's your favorite, yeah?
Yeah, stout or IPA, but your gigantic IPA, because the others, I don't know, provoke me some stomach ache. No fake.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I don't know
totally.
why.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, that's how it is with me and IPAs now, is that if I have like a bunch of IPAs that I just like, I'm just not really feeling it.
Yeah.
So,
but now, recently, the other Friday, just got a growler of your IPA.
Oh, nice.
So I'm drinking it right now.
Right on.
And the other question, Ben, what do you think it's important to consider when you start something new?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Yeah, when it comes to like starting a new, you're thinking like starting a new brewery or just like general whatever?
Can we start with a brewery?
Yeah, starting a new brewery. Yeah, what is the right thing? Sorry, I should have thought this through. Yeah, I asked you to send me the questions, and then I was like, and I did look at that one, but yeah, like if you're going to start a new brewery, I mean, there's a lot of things to think of. I always tell people that if the number one thing is to get experience before you start your brewery. I know that when I moved from Wisconsin, I'd like worked at this one brewery part-time, basically washing kegs, and like we actually like screen printed our own bottles in there and everything like that. It was pretty crazy setup, but it was this little tiny brewery, and I moved from there, and I had this Michael Jackson beer book that I loved, and I'd gone through and looked at all of these, the different beers that are in it, and I'd written like notes on the front of it of like which beers, if I had my own brewery, which beers I would be making and everything. And I came back and I started working at Pelican, and that's the thing, I always wanted to have my own brewery. And and it took 7-8 years to get to that point. But when I looked at that book, after I'd started my own brewery and looked at like what I was going to make and what I thought was really important, I was so far off from like what I actually needed to be doing and what we actually ended up doing, and just, I was green. Like I didn't have any experience, not just, I mean, I had experience drinking beer, but not making beer. And and actually the industry had moved a bit, but I just realized looking back at those notes, like how little I knew and how important it was that I took the time to work at somebody else's brewery, to learn from them, to gain experience, so that when it came time to start my own place, then I did have the confidence to do it, that I wasn't, I basically had I learned a lot. I failed sometimes, and I learned from those experiences all working for somebody else. And so there wasn't that risk of it not working. So then when it came time for me to start my own thing, I felt really confident that what I was going to do was going to work, and because I had already like made all these other mistakes, that's part of working for another brewery and for another brewer as well. It's great working for somebody who has a lot of experience, because like I always tell our guys, like the reason why I tell you not to do this thing is because I messed it up, because I screwed it up one time doing it that way.
Yeah, they have.
And so like
that.
Yeah, in some ways you aren't, it sucks because you're not getting to have that same experience, but at the same time, I'm making it easier for you because I can tell you that you don't want to do that thing.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's the number one thing. And then beyond that, yeah, I don't know, yeah, I don't know what the next step would be. Find a good spot, find a great location, and wait for a great location. That's what I would say. Don't just rush to have the first place that's available or the one place that works. Wait until if you're because that's so important. It's not just making the beer, it's also selling it yourself, right?
Yeah.
And especially selling at your own bar. So wait until you have the right location and everything comes together perfectly, that there's no point in rushing, because once you get it open, it might take you an extra year or something, but once you get it open, hopefully you're open for 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 years, so that 1 year doesn't mean a whole lot. So yeah, there's no reason to rush those things. I feel like with this third location that we're opening up, we've been looking for, well, I guess we've been looking for a year, but we'd been looking off and on for a few years before that, before we opened the second spot. And yeah, I mean, things just, you don't think anything's ever going to open up and it's never going to work quite right. And then something just falls in your lap,
Yeah, step by step.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't be too much in a rush. Because also these things, I can tell you, we always feel like everybody's like, oh, there are too many breweries. Are there too many, actually that's really what it is. Are there too many breweries? And there's really not, what happens, it seems like the brewing industry, a lot of breweries have a life cycle, that it seems like right now, a lot of the breweries that are closing have been around for 25 years, 25, 30 years here. And so it seems like, yeah, it kind of seems like there's this up and down thing in the life cycle of a brewery. And some obviously can go longer than that. Some can go shorter, but I guess point being that there's going to be an opportunity for you down the road as well. There's no reason to feel like you might miss the boat. And especially in a place, especially in Mexico City, where there's so many people, there aren't that many breweries. Most of the beer being sold is being sold by large brewers. There's a lot of opportunity, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for the next, at least 20 years, if not forever. I mean, it's like there's a bunch of other businesses that have existed for a long time. I bet you a bakery is a great example. Bakeries have existed for hundreds of years, and there's still new bakeries that are opening up, and somebody opens up a new bakery and they're like, man, these guys make the best, who knows what, whatever is the new thing, and they take off. So yeah, and it's been hundreds of years. So don't get too worried about rushing into something.
Yeah, and
wait for it to be right.
I think that's important, because I think in people of our age or that are starting new projects, they think, as you said, that they are missing the boat, that they are not going to make it, or they don't have money, they don't have time. And as you say too, don't be in a lot of rush, step by step, and I think that's very good words.
And I know those feelings because I had those feelings, that's
I
had that exact feeling. So yeah.
And how did you deal with that feelings?
Drinking.
Me too. Or which advice can you give to people that is dealing with that kind of emotions, that want to start a new project?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say just yeah, I mean, it takes time, and just continue working through your steps, and just waiting, and like I said, it's gonna happen. You're gonna make it happen. It will come together. It just might take a little bit longer. It might not look exactly like you thought it did. I guess that's another thing I was gonna say too, is just popped in my head, is to don't think that you have to be that, you might, okay, let me talk about our brewery rather than trying to say some big idea. I'll just talk about our brewery. So when we started Gigantic, we had our brew house, and then we started with 3 fermenters. So we had our system it's a 15 barrel system, and so we had 1 15 barrel and 2 45 barrel fermenters. So brewing 3 times to fill the 45s, of course. And what we did is they're all unit tanks, and so you can brew, you can clarify, you can do everything, package off that tank. But we would use them either as a true unit tank, or we would use that third tank, that 45 barrel tank, as a bright beer tank for certain beers. And then as we sold beer and got money into the company, then we bought another fermenter. And then as we sold beer, bought another fermenter, and so now we're up to, we have 6 45 barrel fermenters, 2 15 barrel fermenters, and a 45 barrel bright tank. And that bright tank was the last tank that we added, because we could use those unit tanks a lot of times you'd use one of the unit tanks, one of the fermenters, as a bright tank. But also if we needed to, we could just clarify in it. It's called the unit tank for a reason. It works great. Point being, and then we also bought other fancier equipment as we went along. This isn't anything that any brewery, that other breweries don't do, but just think about what you need to get started and to get it going, and have those things. And you don't necessarily need all the bells and whistles and all the expensive equipment. That wait until the cash starts coming into the company, and then make those investments, and then grow to the next stage. I think a lot of times I've been to a lot of breweries where people think they need, everything when they open on day one, and they just spend crazy amounts of money. And a couple of those times those breweries have failed, just because they spent too much cash on the front end. So just being smart about stuff like that.
Yeah, you're true a lot. Especially in don't get mad and be calm, and as we have been saying, step by step, and everything at a time.
Yes, exactly. You just got upgraded. Congratulations.
Excuse me?
Oh, it said, I got the thing, and you just got upgraded to unlimited minutes.
Yeah. A little receiving.
All right. Yeah. So
yeah. Well, Ben, thank you a lot for taking your time to be here after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I appreciate a lot your answers and all your experience. And thank you a lot.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really enjoy it, and I'm glad that you asked me and stuff. I'm glad that we've built this friendship.
Yeah.
That it's continued, which is awesome. I'm sure you got your timber scarf back there somewhere, right?
Yeah, it's right there.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
that's
awesome.
Great.
I just started following the team on Instagram. They are awesome.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good. Yeah, we just had our first game last week, and we looked pretty good. I mean, we ended up tied, so it went all right. Yeah, couldn't beat your team, but that's okay. I mean, your team's a little bit better, so that's understandable.
Hopefully, we can be against each other again.
I would like that. It was a lot of fun. Actually, I thought it was great. It was crazy.
You've been there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't remember if I sent you the videos, but but it was almost like being at Club America match. Like the number of Club America supporters that were there and stuff. It was at least 50-50, if not even more. On the Club America side. So it was a lot of fun. It was a really good time. So hopefully they have another match again, and hopefully I'll be able to come back down there again sometime. Maybe we can go to a game or something.
Yeah.
Be great.
Yeah, we will. And if you come one day, be at stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you a lot, Ben, and hope you have a good night.
You too.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
See you, Ben.
Take care. See you later.
Bye.